The Girl Who Cried. From the Basement. Part 2. The last game of hide and seek. The basement door opened 1 inch, then another. Cold air spilled into the hallway and crawled across my feet. From the darkness below, Emily whispered, "You hide first." I couldn't move. Every memory I had of my sister rushed back at once. Her laugh, her tiny footsteps, running through the house. The way she used to hide in the same 3 places every time and still giggle, like she had fooled the entire world. But the voice coming from the basement wasn't playful. It was hungry. The door creaked wider. Something small stood halfway down the basement stairs. I could only see its outline, a child's shape. Emily's shape. But wrong. Her head hung too low. Her arms dangled too long. Her hair covered her face in wet strands, even though the basement had been dry for years. "Daniel," she whispered, "you never found me." My knees almost gave out. "I tried," I said, crying. "I looked everywhere." The thing on the stairs tilted its head. "No," it said. "Dad found me." The cracked phone on the floor buzzed again. Another message appeared. "Not everything in the basement is your sister." I looked down at the phone, then back at the stairs. The thing smiled. I couldn't see its mouth, but I heard it stretch. "Come play." Behind me, a floorboard creaked. I spun around. Emily's stuffed rabbit sat in the hallway. It had been on her bed. Now it was sitting upright, facing the basement door. Around its neck was a folded piece of paper tied with a pink ribbon. My hand shook as I untied it. It was my father's handwriting. Messier than before. "Daniel, if you are reading this, I failed." The thing on the stairs hissed. I backed away from the basement door and kept reading. "Your sister did go into the basement that day, but she was not alone. Something was already down there. Something that learned her voice. I pulled Emily out, but it kept part of her. Her fear, her cries, her last memory of you not playing with her." My vision blurred. The note continued. I tried to keep it sealed inside, but it used her voice every night. It made me believe she was suffering. It wanted me to open the door. I never did, not until the night I died. The basement door slammed open. The child-shaped thing crawled up 1 step, then another, not walking, crawling backward, its head still facing me. "Give her back," I whispered. The thing stopped. For the first time, it didn't sound like Emily. It sounded old, deep, angry. She was lonely. "No," I said. "You were." The house shook. Pictures fell from the walls. The hallway light flickered on and off like the house itself was blinking. Then a new sound came from the basement. Not crying, humming. A soft little tune. I knew it immediately. Emily used to hum it when she was scared. The thing on the stairs twisted its neck toward the darkness below. "No," it growled. From the basement, a tiny voice whispered, "Danny?" Not Daniel. Danny. Only Emily called me that. The thing screamed. It wasn't loud like an animal. It was loud like 100 doors slamming inside my head. I dropped the note and ran toward the stairs. The thing lunged at me. Its fingers scraped across my arm. Cold as ice, but I shoved past it and charged down into the basement. The air was freezing. The basement light flickered overhead. Boxes were stacked against the walls. Old furniture sat under sheets. The far corner was covered by a black stain that looked like mold, except it moved like breathing. And in the center of the room was Emily. The real Emily. Not alive. Not exactly. She stood in a pale glow, 6 years old forever, clutching the blanket they found at the bottom of the stairs. She looked scared, but she looked like herself. "Danny," she whispered. I waited. I fell to my knees. "I'm sorry," I sobbed. "I'm so sorry I didn't play with you." Emily looked down. "I hid good this time. That broke me. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. "I should have found you," I said. "I should have protected you." She stepped closer and touched my cheek. Her hand was cold but gentle. "You were a kid too." Behind us, the thing crawled down the stairs, dragging its long fingers across the wood. "She belongs here," it said. Emily turned toward it. For the first time, she didn't look afraid. "No," she said. "I was just waiting for my brother." The stuffed rabbit appeared at the bottom of the stairs. Its black button eyes faced the moving stain in the corner. Then I understood. Dad hadn't been talking to the rabbit because he was crazy. He had been talking to the only piece of Emily the thing couldn't touch. Her favorite toy. Her safe place. I grabbed the rabbit and held it out to her. Emily's eyes filled with tears. "My bunny," she whispered. The second her hands touched it, the basement changed. The black stain shrank. The cold air lifted. The thing screamed again, but this time it sounded afraid. Emily hugged the rabbit tight. Light spread from her like sunrise through dirty glass. The thing tried to crawl away, but the basement walls knocked 3 times. Not to invite it in, to lock it away. Knock. 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 The floor cracked beneath the thing. Long black hands reached up from below and pulled it down. It clawed at the wood. It screamed in Emily's voice. Then my father's. Then mine. Then, finally, no voice at all. The crack sealed shut. The basement went quiet. For the first time in 8 years, the house felt like a house again. Emily stood in front of me, still holding her rabbit. She smiled. Not the wrong smile from upstairs. Her real smile. "I'm not scared anymore," she said. I wanted to beg her to stay. I wanted to tell her I'd play hide and seek every day for the rest of my life. But deep down, I knew that wasn't fair. So I just asked, "Are you going to be okay?" She nodded. "Dad said he's sorry too." I looked behind her. For a second, I saw my father standing in the basement doorway. Younger somehow. Not sick, not hollow, just tired. He put a hand over his heart. Then he faded. Emily stepped closer and wrapped her tiny arms around my neck. I felt her. Just for a second. Warm. Real. My little sister. "I found you," I whispered. She smiled against my shoulder. "You always do." Then the light grew brighter. I closed my eyes. When I opened them, I was alone in the basement. The storm had stopped. Morning sunlight poured through the tiny basement window. The stuffed rabbit was in my hands. Clean. Soft. Warm. I sold the house a year later, but not before fixing it up. New paint, new floors, new lights. I filled the basement with boxes of donated toys, blankets, and clothes for kids who needed them. Mom said Emily would have liked that. She came back too. Not to live there, just to say goodbye. We stood together in Emily's room one last time. The pink walls were gone, but one glow-in-the-dark star was still stuck to the ceiling. Mom reached for my hand. For the first time in years, neither of us cried because we were afraid. We cried because we were finally done waiting. Sometimes I still dream about Emily, but not in the basement, not crying. In the dream, we're kids again. She runs through the house, laughing, her rabbit tucked under one arm. She hides behind the curtains every time. I pretend I can't find her. Then she giggles, and I say, "Found you." And every time, before I wake up, she smiles and says, "I know."
Have a scary story of your own? Send your true stories, original horror stories, or creepy experiences to narratednightmaresx@gmail.com. Your story could be featured and narrated in a future video on Narrated Nightmares. Original horror stories that feel like they happened to someone you know.